Hi everyone, it's James here from Pro Tools Expert, and I've got another installment, if you like, in the Louis and Lara session that I put out a couple of weeks ago. This time, again, I'm limiting the number of effects and plugins and things that I'm using, and I just want to show you around the session again. This time I'm concentrating fairly heavily on this baby. This is the Air EQ from Eiosis. I'm kind of late to the party on this one, but as we go through, I'll talk you through what I'm using it for, why I like it, and how I like it. But let me just show you around the session. Again, it's a simple vocal and 3 mics on a guitar session. Louis Correia and Lara, great to work with, really, really easy to get on with, which, let's face it, in 99% of the time is exactly what you need and will make any session go just that little bit smoother. So on the vocal, I'm using the Sontronics Aria into my rather beautiful Neve 1073 preamp. And I'm hitting it with a little bit of tape saturation, a little bit of tape head from our friends at Massey. Then I've got the EQ, we'll talk about that in a second. I'm using the Fairchild from UAD, and this is rather beautiful. I'm not sure where I got the idea, I think I probably nicked it from someone, of using a Fairchild on vocals, which is not really what most people think of it used for. But it works really well, it's really gentle, it can be really gentle. Obviously, if you want to thrash it, you can do, but it can be really gentle as well. And a bit of mod delay, again, I'm using this to spread, create a bit of a stereo space for the vocal. 22, 28 milliseconds either side. And I'm using the Air EQ. So let me just drag this over here a second. Go back to some vocal. Solo that for you. And let me play you what this thing's doing.
Wandering around this city, ups and downs on these streets where I'm not found. Hoping for dreams, 'cause
so I'm just using it to push a little bit more 2K. I think Lara's kind of smoky Mediterranean tones need a little bit of push around that sort of frequency. Push the top end a little bit, bring it down at the top, obviously roll off a little of the bass bottom end, which you don't need. Just pushing a little bit of presence, about 100 hertz and about 350 in there, just to bring up some sort of body in her voice. I'll bypass it again, play it back so you can hear it.
Wandering around this city, ups and downs on these streets where I'm not found. Hoping for dreams, 'cause those weren't mine. Looking for a sound so I could feel fine.
Now, one of the things I really like about the Air EQ, which, let's face it, most people think of as a kind of a bus or a master channel EQ. I really like the fact that I can use the water and fire, the character setting, to get in and make my EQ a bit more pointy, a bit more stellated, or smooth it out, going back to the water tones. I kind of like it a bit more pointed, a bit more kind of more focused, should we say. I'm not doing anything clever, say pushing a bit more 2K. That's probably the main bit that I'm actually running in here for her vocal, just to bring out sort of the real clarity in her voice. So on the acoustic guitar, again, I'm running 3 channels. Sontronics Sigma into my 4710, Sontronics Saturn into the rather beautiful Chandler Red 47, and then the DI, well, it's not really a DI because the guitar already has a balanced output, is running into another channel on my 4710. And again, you'll see here, no EQ, no reverb. I'm just using the channels to balance. If I solo those up, you can see I'm running through just 2 plugins, Air EQ, which we'll come to in a second, and the SSL channel strip. It's called the glue for a reason. It's just binding it all together, making it a bit more cohesive. So have a listen to that EQ on the guitar. And again, I'm using this really to pull out that top end, that kind of real nice jangly string sound. If I bypass it and play back, here it comes. Really great acoustic guitar sound. Just say it's good mics, a good instrument, a good player. It works. The other tricks on this on this particular session I'm using Phoenix Verb from Exponential Audio. I love this thing. It sounds great. For me, especially where you've got nowhere to hide with a sort of vocal and acoustic guitar duo, it's really important to get the tails of the reverbs super, super clean. And that's what this thing does for me. Bit of SSL compressor on the master bus. Again, I'm using the Air EQ just to sweeten up the top end. Give me a little bit more punch, around 50 to 100 hertz on the bottom end, and I'm using the Avid Pro limiter just to hold it all together, stop me peaking or doing anything silly. The one thing I love about this limiter is it doesn't colour. You just get the control, you don't get the colour of other brands of limiter. So, altogether, it just works. This whole keeping it simple, sticking to minimal numbers of plugins is really working for me at the moment. Maybe you should give it a go. The Air EQ, again, most people think of it as a bus EQ or a mastering EQ, but certainly it works really, really well when you come to looking at individual channels, because the sculpting and the nature of being able to get in and get down and dirty with the EQ and just correct or enhance whatever input signal you're giving it. Well, as you can see, there's a video for this one as well, so I'll let that run through so you can actually have a listen to this track. And hopefully there'll be some more of these coming very, very soon. Keep the feedback coming. Thanks very much for everyone who got back to me after the last one. Hence, there's another one. I've been James. I'll see you again soon for another gear review.
Wandering around this city, ups and downs on these streets where I'm not found, hoping for dreams, 'cause those weren't mine, looking for a sound so I can feel fine, wandering around and around, as easy as a sound, lost is like crowds, adventure in the dark side, mine in a town, still hoping for the light to brighten up my way down, waiting for a kiss that fell on the ground. Sometimes the noise is so loud, stops me from thinking. I see flashing lights, these ceilings like the skies. That day I almost died, waiting for a sound so I could feel the ground. Oh, beneath my feet, no melody so sweet, hoping for a kiss that fell on the ground. Yeah. Oh, and now we're falling quick as no